For the first time in more than 60 years, China's population has fallen. This could indicate the possible start of a long-term decline. Beijing's National Bureau of Statistics said the population decreased by 850,000 people to 1.4 billion. The country also reported its lowest birth rate since official records began and its highest death rate in decades. China's one-child policy ended in 2015, but despite various incentives offered by the government, the growth rate has continued to fall. Well, our reporter Katie Silver is following developments in Singapore. Hi, Katie. Good to see you. I mean, these are really significant figures, aren't they?
They are. So you wouldn't think a country with a population of 1.4 billion would be concerned about having a few less. But as you mentioned, 850,000 fewer from the end of 2021 to the end of 2022, if we look backwards 1 year. And the reason that they are concerned by this is many say this is a population time bomb, that it is ushering in a period of decline, and this is likely to be a trend. And these numbers dropping are likely to continue. Now, as you mentioned, the death and birth rate were also the lowest in years. And many are saying as well that with China giving up its zero COVID policy, the increase and spike in cases and the problems when it comes to hospitalisations, that's going to do nothing to try and help alleviate this burden when it comes to the death rate. Now, many hospitals there, as I mentioned, overwhelmed. We've been hearing as well from the Commissioner of the National Bureau of Statistics. He's given something more of an outline about exactly what the numbers are telling us.
60岁及以上人口
Those aged above 60 was 280 million, 19.8% of the population. Those aged 65 and above was 210 million, 14.9% of the total population. In terms of urban-rural structure, urban population accounted for 65.22% of the total population, up by 0.5 percentage points than the end of 2021.
Katie, I guess it's fair to say these figures do raise serious questions about the country's one-child policy, which did come to an end some 7-8 years ago now.
That's right, but it was in play for 35 years, Samantha. And what it does show is once this train is in motion, how hard it is to rectify. So we saw the two-child policy come into force back in 2015. In 2021, the three-child policy before doing away with it altogether. But what it did create was this structural idea that you needed to invest everything into your children. As a result, for example, we saw the online tutoring industry there boom. We saw the government there basically clamp down on that sector in recent years, trying to alleviate some of that pressure on families regarding spending in order to try and help encourage the birth rate. We also saw, for example, local governments trying to combat this, rolling out measures to encourage people to have more babies, including, for example, tax deductions, longer maternity leaves and housing subsidy. But the problem is none of these are really having all that much impact. And what it shows is, as I say, once the train is in motion, it's very hard to turn it around.